Hello everybody. I'm pretty happy to be here. Let's turn down this volume. Good to see you guys. I'm Leo Mendez and I'm broadcasting live from Mexico City this beautiful morning in Mexico and this evening in France. And I'm pretty happy to be here with all this machine. Let me share with you my top view in order to talk a little bit of the things that we're gonna cover to this broadcast, this little course or little workshop. So we have in the table a couple of instruments here, some gadgets as the title mentioned. We have here the beautiful microfig. You already heard that beautiful sounding machine. And we also have analog gear here, semi-modular stuff, the O-Coast going directly to the NTS, like a digital effect. And we have a couple of pocket operators here, pretty handy to do like kind of drum machines in your pocket. And also we have here a digital synth, the OP1. But the thing that we're gonna discuss a little further is gonna be the KeyStep Pro. If you want to see me, I'm gonna be on your upper right corner. And let me introduce myself a little bit. I've been working as a store owner for the last 5 years now. I've been producing and using these machines as a musician for almost 15 years now, but the last 5 years we have been working pretty closely with the Arturia team in launching different products in our market. I'm located in Mexico, in the Latin American market, and in the last I think January we had a beautiful event called Mexico. So we had the release for the market of the KeyStep Pro. We had the opportunity to show to the people firsthand, and I had this unit for the last month, and I'm pretty in love with this machine. And I'm a hardcore user of the KeyStep. I also have that one right here, all beaten up. Like for the time and for the usage, I use it very much, this machine, all the time to do workshops and lectures and also playing live. I love it. But the KeyStep, all the family, it's amazing. But the KeyStep and the KeyStep Pro right now, it's my favorite controller now in the moment. So the thing here is gonna try to sync everything together and try to produce some kind of the sounds that you're already hearing right now. So the first part we're gonna use is gonna be the regular MIDI. In here we have already a cable running on through the MIDI out of the KeyStep Pro, and it's going directly to the back of the microfig unit. It's pretty easy. I don't know if you can remember these little dongles. This one it's a MIDI 5-pin going through a TRS. Only to remember that the MIDI on the microfig, it's a TRS type A, so it's pretty handy to have one of these. A good friend of mine made this for me, like a longer one. And if you play live, if you play constantly, you already know that the less cables you can manage, the better. So this is the super basic kind of connection. But the one thing we need to remember, that's a powerful thing of the microfig, is that you have like 4 dedicated channels on each track. We have 4 sequencers on each single track, and the one thing you need to remember is that track number 2 is gonna send the MIDI through the MIDI channel number 2. I already took a photo of the setup because the camera is so high. So the thing here, let me share with you this photo. So it's gonna be the MIDI track output number 2. So to get there, we only need to press Shift and Utility and then go through the menus. Pretty easy. It's a MIDI channel going through the track output and going directly to the output number 2. Again, you can do also the same thing on the utility. And as I mentioned before, this is a polyphonic sequencer. You can layer up to 16 notes on each step. So one thing that is pretty handy, you can actually see, let me hear a little bit the sounds. You can actually see with these little LEDs where your notes are being played. So it's pretty beautiful. I really love it, and pretty easy to edit and everything. So we have our first already our first sequence here, and we can tweak if you want a little bit of the sound. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. So let me continue a little bit with the explanation here. So the next one is gonna be another regular cable. I have my cables around, and it's a super basic 5-pin MIDI channel. So the thing we're gonna connect now is gonna be the bass. We already have here a nice solid round bass. So this one of the disadvantage of the OP1 is that you have like a micro USB to use MIDI. So in order to really play with the KeyStep Pro and control everything, we need to control with MIDI. But we need to do a little trick here. We have the Kenton USB MIDI host. It's super handy and super helpful for doing this kind of control. And it's receive MIDI. And one thing amazing of the KeyStep Pro is you have like 2 outputs of MIDI of 5-pin MIDI. So it's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. We're gonna use our MIDI channel, our MIDI output 2, and we're gonna connect it directly to the Kenton into the MIDI in. And if you can hear, it's already a sequence there, but let's start from scratch. I'm gonna, perfect. So the thing here is the USB is a regular USB connector. It's a USB-A. Let me get back this to the port, and then this micro USB, nothing fancy on it. It's a MIDI micro USB type of connection, and pretty easy, also super straightforward. But some of these units, the MIDI USB host, you can, if you're into the DIY scene, there's a lot of Arduino-based projects already there, and also a few brands are doing this. So we have on the track number 3, the MIDI channel number 3 regularly. So we need to move that, and in order to move that, we're going to go again to the project utilities, and I already did that and take a photo for you guys, so be pretty straightforward. And let me share with you. So the track output number 3 is gonna be on the channel number 1. Why is that? Because we already have the OP1 going through the track MIDI channel number 1. So to keep everything tidy and don't move the OP1, I prefer to do everything on the KeyStep, because it's pretty easy, and it's because it's my control now for all this setup. So pretty easy and doable. And we have now like 2 basic controls. And we can start to jam around with this. Okay, my time is not that perfect, but the one of the good or the greatest things that have this KeyStep Pro is that have already a built-in metronome. That's amazing. But the best part is that it has already a built-in speaker also. I think you can barely hear it, but it's pretty loud in my studio. So you can actually connect these to the outboard gear or to the mixer, and you can start jamming around. I'm gonna select with the last step button 32 steps. I'm gonna start to jam. Hit record. And perfectly on sync. And to be perfectly on sync, I also take a photo of this. You can get quantize over like a 50% or 100%. It's pretty easy. You only need to press Shift and the step 11, and is perfectly quantized over the grid. It's pretty straightforward, but also really helpful if you're a little had a time not as perfect as mine. It's pretty easy. So it seems like pretty logical and pretty doable. But the thing here, like the one of the first steps of this is like to think on the basic MIDI channels, and now now that you solve that, you're ready to go to the more experienced or more advanced techniques of control. So you have to remember the first track is gonna be the track number 2. It's gonna control the microfreak. I'm gonna turn down the metronome, and the track number 3 is gonna be our bass here. Perfect. We have both up and running, everything in sync. So the next I want to talk about is the O-Coast. The O-Coast is a semi-modular analog gear. It has dedicated inputs and outputs to control. We have like gate inputs, 1 volt per octave, decay inputs, and many other types of control of that unit. I love that unit because it's pretty small. It has a small footprint and pretty powerful. So one thing we're gonna use now is the voice number 4. If you remember the first KeyStep and also the BeatStep and the BeatStep Pro, one of the amazing things that these machines have in common is that they have like 3 different outputs: pitch, gate, and velocity. So those outputs are pretty handy in control analog gear, semi-modular, or full modular gear. In this case, we have 3 different outputs: pitch, velocity, and gate, as mentioned before. And we're going to start with the gate. So if I can give you only one advice, it's going to be this one: bring colors to your table. So this is a green cable. I don't know if the color correction is good or not on the streaming, but this is a green cable, and sometimes it's pretty easy to manage around your signal flow if you have like dedicated colors for each one or type of signals. So the gate is gonna go through this green, and it's gonna be connected on the back of the unit, and then it's gonna go below these cables in order to see. It's pretty easy. And then you're gonna go on the gate input of this machine. So for those that are not familiar to gates and on those kind of signals, the gates are like it's a metaphor about pressing a key. So each time we press a key, let me turn up the volume. We have 2 stages of this gate. The first stage is gonna be the stage low, when nobody's pressing the key, and as soon as you press the key, the gate goes higher and open up the BCA. The BCA is the voltage control amplifier, and in this unit we have a BCA dedicated, and also we have a contour. The contour is another way of calling the envelope generator or the function generator, and in this case this contour it's something that is inspired on the early Minimux and all that stuff. So let's hear that. We're going to the track number 4. So as soon as we press a key, we open up our BCA. So one thing you may notice now is no matter where I press the key bed, the pitch is not connected. So that's gonna be our next cable, and we're gonna choose another color. Now it's gonna be a red cable. It's gonna be on the back of the unit again, and again trying to don't get so much mess on the table, and it's gonna go directly to the 1 volt per octave. The 1 volt per octave is like standard of how of this analog gear use. It has been decided a long time ago, and it means that each increment of octaves is around 1 volt. So let's figure out, like, this is 1 volt, this is 2 volts, 3 volts, and so on, from 0 volts to 5 volts over 5 octaves. And there's if you go to the menus and the MIDI control center of the KeyStep Pro, you can also connect other stuff like hertz per volt or 1.2 volts per octave. That is pretty handy. You can do that on the MIDI control center pretty easy. So now we have both signals going on. Now we have gate and pitch. So we can go from C to another C to another C. So these volts, voltage is quantized. That means it goes directly notes. But let's remember that our analog gear, our oscillators have like full range of frequencies. So that's also pretty handy, because you can have like dedicated user scales, and if you go to microtonality, you can tweak a little bit things in order to get that thing going on. So this is also pretty powerful, and we can now get the sequence going on. Let's go to a fresh sequence here. Let's hear a little bit the full setup. Oh, it's on tune, or it's a little bit off. Wow, it was on tune. Nice. For this, we can choose like 2 types of sequence. We can try arpeggiators. It's a powerful thing on the KeyStep Pro. We can press hold here and start to the NTS one is like a reverb here. I'm gonna turn the reverb a little bit. If we press shift, we can change the time division of the arpeggiator. Let's go 32 steps. We can also switch the octaves here. Let me take a photo of that so you can actually see what I'm talking about, because it's pretty... Let's take a photo of this for you guys. Perfect. So you can have like different patterns here. Let me... yeah. So you can have different patterns like up, down, exclusive and random also. Let's try the random one again. So we can start to see the jumping buttons. Let's mute all the tracks. So you will see little blinking lights jumping each other. Also, we can increase the octave range of the arpeggiator. And again, if you're into scales, you can go minor and different modes. Getting back together. But also you can build your own sequence here. You have two ways of doing, then like manually getting some notes, or going to the step edit and try to build a specific sequence there. But also remember, this is gonna be a poly sequence instead of we need a mono sequence, because our analog gear is monophonic. So now we have another type of sequence. Nice. But we have another output left, and that's gonna be the velocity. The key width, it's a pretty nice slim key width of the KeyStep Pro, and it's velocity sensitive. Also has like aftertouch. That's sometimes it's called like that, and also has like pressure sensitive. So we can use that, the velocity mode, going through with a yellow cable. And this is gonna be controlling the decay. And why we're controlling the decay? Because if we, now that it's connected there, let's turn down the, okay, perfect. So now that we have if we turn the decay volume down, you only hear a pluck. But if we press this key harder, we got a different kind of dynamic. So let's get back to our original sequence. One thing that's pretty handy, you can go and run the sequence in also random mode, so the steps gonna jump each other. Now that we're talking about the sequence, we can step edit the randomness or the likeness of these ones, like to play or not. So we're gonna have like a 50-50 if some probability on some of these steps, in order to get things a little weirder, or a little, you can actually like jam with your machine and like be inspired by the KeyStep instead of like get everything planned. So let's hear. now if you catch this from the start, you already heard that we have like these pocket machines, and these are pretty handy. And one thing that I love of these pocket operators is that you can have it on your pocket and stroll around, like commute with this to your work or wherever you want to go. And but the bad thing or the one of the lowest part is doesn't have like any kind of MIDI in or something like that. But we do have sync input. That's pretty powerful, because now with the drum gates we have, if we see our machine here, we have 8 different drum gates. That means I can actually sync almost 8 different ones. And some people may ask like, why you don't use the regular clock out? And that's because I really want to have every single unit on different like output, in order to add like a little reverb here. I can go to my mixer and get a little wet feeling of the reverb. Something pretty easy to do, but also pretty powerful, because you have control of, like also I have a EQ here. If I want to, I don't know, move, get more bassy sound, remove the high end, more mute kind of sound, muffled as it's called. It's pretty easy. And also sometimes at the store or in the classroom, I want to control different gadgets, or I want to sync with different guys at one table with the same unit. So I only have to run one cable for each one, and then they split the clock all the way through the drum gates. And also we can have like different times on each one, like time division. Some of them could be on quarter note bass, some of them could be in 16 note bass, and so on. So in order to do that, we're gonna use another cables. In this case, it's gonna be like gray. I don't know why we choose gray, but I think it's pretty easy to follow also. So this one is gonna control the first one, in this case this special edition of Rick and Morty, and the second one is gonna go out from the drum gate number 2, and as easy as that, I'm going to control the second one. It is a sample bass. Both of them are sample bass. The first one, the green one, it's like a speech sample bass, and the second one is like a regular sample. So I have already some samples here. Let's bring the little bit. Okay. Louder.
Oh yeah. All right.
I have like these quirky sounds.
Come on.
And in this one I already have like some rhythms already. So in order to sing this, we need to press record on BPM. I don't want to go fully on those machines, but it's pretty easy. You only have to like get on this mode when they're waiting a sync signal. So you have to press play, and now we can go to the last track that we have available. That's gonna be the track with the drum track. You have like almost 24 different gates and 8 dedicated gates outputs. So you can control a full setup of drums. With this, even you can control different machines with the same track, and you can split your different drum machines or send different kind of gates. Also, it's a polyrhythm, so you can have like different lengths on each of these patterns. Pretty easy and pretty straightforward if you want to do and work with machines that already have like gate inputs, or your DAW, your BST of drum machines of preference. You can use that as well. So now in the channel in the track 1, in the first drum channel, we are sending the sync signal. So I can go, or I can go slower. And in the second one, I have already like kind of a click. So one thing pretty specifically of these machines is like to be precisely on a certain BPM, you have to get on the little tiny knobs. So sometimes it's harder to get the perfect tempo there. But with the KeyStep Pro, we have a dedicated, the KeyStep Pro, we have a dedicated tempo knob, pretty easy to manage. And now the only thing we need to do is go through the steps and letting the steps build a sync signal. In this case, it's gonna be 8 note, and the other one I want like more space, maybe something like this. And let's here, I'm gonna reset this. One thing you need to notice is as soon as I move the tempo, and last but not least, we're gonna use the regular clock out from the output channel in our KeyStep Pro and control the NTS1 is gonna, I'm using it as a dedicated like effects unit. We have delay and reverb. In order to get the delay without the specific time division of the tempo of the song, I need to do this. I'm gonna grab the unit and sync it as easy as that. So in order to follow the signal here, the first track is gonna be the track number 2. It's gonna control our microfreak. The track number 3 is going through the Kenton and going directly to the OP1 using a MIDI USB to MIDI to USB host and going directly to a USB cable. The third unit we're using is using the voice of number 4 using CB signals, gate on green, voice velocity on yellow, and the pitch in red. And the last two things that we are controlling is going to be this section of rhythms with these pocket operators going through a sync signal and using the track number 1 to change the tempo of each channel. And last, we're using the clock output to the NTS1 in order to get perfectly synced effects like delay or whatever you're using if you want a dedicated tempo for that. split the two tracks, and if you press track and the track 4 or the other way around, the first one is gonna lay out here. So all the red lights, it's barely you can see that, but these LEDs are like in red, and these one are in yellow. So you can jam along and with a split key bed. So if we go to another kind of sequence there, we don't have bass, it's here. Octave low, higher. And in this hand, I have the O-coast there. I'm gonna get lower than that. So let's jam along with this. So pretty powerful machine here. So thank you guys, I'm running out of time, but I want to open up this space to get your Q&A and listen to some of your questions. And if you like this kind of workflow, it's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. The Arturia team are gonna let me know your questions here. So if you want to share your knowledge also, please send a comment right below of this transmission. Just to recap this, all the things are pretty easy to use, and that's the powerful thing of the KeyStep Pro, is that you have everything right on your hand, and it's pretty easy. And as the one I'm gonna stop my clock watch. As the one advice that I had for you is always try to use like different colors for each signal. If you happen to have like some of the signal flow like a faulty cable or whatever, you can bring another one, and instead of like without any lights, sometimes you need to perform in these low light situations, so sometimes it's pretty handy to have everything tight and try to rehearse these kind of setups in order to get like all your gadgets on perfect sync. If you have questions, please let me know. I'm gonna start jam a little bit let's get back to the other pattern. Oh, perfect. We already have like many questions here. On the top right corner. Okay, this is my mixer. My main mixer. It's a K Mix from the Keith Macmillan. It's a 8-in 8 outputs, so it's pretty powerful. Has a built-in DSP, so that means you can add like reverb and different EQs, panning, compressor, gates, and some of those beautiful effects that you're hearing. Like let's hear one like in the drum. Let's start the drum. I'm gonna mute the other channels. So in the track, you can select the tracks up here, and it's like reverb. So pretty powerful. Also, you can have EQ, move the low end, and then get back. The second one. The second question is, can I use a USB hub to connect all my MIDI devices by USB instead of MIDI? Yes, and sometimes one thing, let me stop this. Yes, you can do that, and also sometimes it's pretty handy to have like USB. Some users have told us that there's a plenty of brands of USB USB hosts that can work, but some of them there's like a power limit, so some of them drain too much power and you can faulty signals. So you need a USB hub that is powered by another extension there, so like PSU, like the power brick. So that's the main reason you need to use a powered USB hub. But yes, you can work directly from the USB. The question number 3. Oh yeah, like something for Florian. Oh, yesterday I did something for Florian. I'm pretty sad. He passed away. He's such a beautiful an inspiration for every single artist, and I don't have anything prepared for, but yeah, like it's a pretty sad moment for all of us, the electronic music community. But the one thing that I'm pretty sure is his legacy is gonna be with us further and farther than his life. And so let's like a requiem for Florian, and pretty sad news. I think I had another question. Well, the what type of what type of MIDI TRS adapters are required for the Microfig, A or B? It's a type B, the type B solution. There's a MIDI. I think there's a website on the MIDI Association that you can go and see the schematics of those. I suggest that you made one of these longer cables in order to then use like many dongles around. So that's a nice thing. Like, we have another question. The next question is it possible to transport all the melodic tracks at once? Now it's not, but I'm pretty sure that the Arturia teams are pretty aware of that, because it's something really powerful. Now you can have to do each one of these at a time, but the Arturia teams is taking notice of this question because it's really a nice question, and it's something is gonna be pretty powerful as soon as it's available. And I think there's gonna be a new Yes. So the next question is gonna be the gates connected to the PO, like keep advancing as soon as you program them. Yes. So the question is, if we program the track number 1, each of the beat represents like almost 2 beats at the same time. So because the signal is up and down, the sync signal feels the both signals. So as soon as you press 1, I get 2 notes of the pocket operator, like the same here. You see, there's like 2 notes at the same time, 1 and 2, because it's a like kind of a trigger, so it triggers the first sound and get the other sound. But you can go, you don't need to go like down tempo things. You can like go on 16 notes and double up the tempo. So that's pretty handy as well, because it's easier to sometimes it's not response as we want, but sometimes we can have like different kind of timing. So the first part's gonna be like in these 8 notes, and then it's gonna run in 16 notes. Let's try that. But as you may hear, it takes 2 notes at the first time, so it's a little off. But if you have some time to dig deeper on how to program the pocket operators, it's pretty handy to use this as a way of spicing things up, because now this is kind of weird or awkward kind of timing, because you already knew the machine, like the beats. You know that it's a kick and a snare, a kick and a snare, so it's kind of weird. But in the other one, in this one that you don't really know, that's gonna be a different stuff there. I'm gonna mute the channel number 1 only to hear the percussion. So that's a little spice there to move around your drum gates, instead of like have these everything on sync. Yeah, can you hear that? Like, I'm gonna turn the volume a little bit. Let's yep. I'm gonna add a little burp. You know, like more spice there to try to move your things around. There's another question. Will the KeyStep Pro easily integrate and recognize all the instruments in GarageBand and Logic Pro? Right now there's no direct integration, but one thing is like you can assign the CC, the control change, to every single of the channels of your instruments, and you can go and direct connect each one of the CCs, the control change communication with that. So it's pretty easy, and most of the DAWs have a dedicated page to do that. This is a nice question. Does it make sense to run all the drum machines with the KeyStep Pro and the synth with the KeyStep Pro? How many total tracks will you have to sequence? Yeah, it makes total sense to have like the both units at the same time if you want to bring more to your table. In this case, I really do love that the KeyStep Pro has, like as I mentioned before, 24 different drum gates. From the 1 to the 8, it's available on drum gates, but from 9 to 24, you can control DAW based drums or BST, or also you can control your preferred drum machines. So it's pretty powerful. So to be honest, I prefer to have only one machine at the table, like one dedicated control to everything. But also you can bring my beloved KeyStep Pro, because it's pretty handy. And sometimes, like I had this discussion with Sylvain from the Arturia team, that I love to play the pads for drums, and sometimes it's way different to play the drums with the keys. But I think the two solutions works pretty well, but I prefer to have one machine like to control everything. Sometimes like build many sequence in different sequencers, like kind of awkward for myself on the kind of music that I do, and I prefer to have everything together. Also because you have like some things handy here, like the looper section on the KeyStep Pro is gonna loop all your timing in this machine. So I prefer to have one single unit to control everything and have everything on sync. I have another question here. Can we combine a KeyStep Pro and a Matrix Brute having two sequence? Yes, you can sync them via MIDI, but the Matrix Brute will play its internal sequencer, and you cannot layer like sequencer there. So the Matrix Brute has to be the sequence player has to be on, and but actually it's a monophonic instrument, so there's no way of layering two different sequence at the same time. Hopefully that helped on that question. Yes, I'm gonna ask this a nice question. Can you make your pattern active only the odd steps to make the PO go off beat, backbeat? Yes, you can. Instead of like, oh, I dropped my phone. Sorry for that. That's where I'm reading your questions, and you can go like, let's try that, and remember we need to unmute this one, and you can actually, instead of going on beat, you know, this will be the stronger beat, you can lay out a different beat there. And if we layer something else like the bass, it's on the next the next thing, so it could be done like that. And what else do we have here? We don't have any more questions, I think, but let's keep jamming with this. It's a nice idea. So let's hear that. Have like a, you don't need like a specific let's turn down this space. Yeah, perfect. You can have like maybe like move to the realm of having like 7/16 notes, and in the step edit like introduce not this one instead of that one. And we're going to have these in 7 steps. So thank you guys. I'm pretty excited to be here with you guys. It's such a honor to be in this live broadcast with you. Thank you so much to the Arturia Latino America team, Silvan, Morgan from the official Arturia team. It was such a honor to be part of these live sets, and hopefully you get something and some idea to this from this hour, almost an hour now. So I'm pretty happy to be here, and please follow me up on social media at Sintes con Leo, and also I have a YouTube channel available. It's in Spanish. That's my main language, the native language. So if you want to learn more in Spanish, you can go there. So thanks so much to everybody that joined us this morning in Mexico and evening in France, and see you on the next time. I'm gonna keep jamming along with you a little bit to say goodbye. Thank you so much.